if you ask any questions, that also the Afo-Economics team will be able to connection to the connection to the mouse is lost. That's always fun. Look, and I love my rechargeable batteries, but I don't know. Sometimes I just don't think they're as dependable as our other batteries. I'm going to. Thanks everybody. I'm just having some technical challenges with my mouse. Okay, the light came back on. I can't switch to my webinar without my mouse acting correctly. Bear with me. Hi, how are you, everybody? The only problem is I can't see the webinar. And I just put brand new batteries in there before we started. So like this. How's everybody today? I refuse to log out and log back in because you never know what might happen. There was a battery looking funny. That could be it. Because we want to talk about something powerful. Whenever we're going to do something powerful, we always can expect something that says connected. Let's see. It's not connected. Well, this means that we are all together, God willing, but I can't, I won't be able to turn you off without, look, this will be an interesting closeout. No, I'm not going to do that. We want to, connection lost. I don't know what the best thing to do in this situation. No. Let's try this. I'm going to switch. I have two computers. I could see myself on Facebook trying to do this. I can see y'all, but I can't log in. Let me see. I'm gonna try to click when I click start. No, I'm scared to do that. So we're gonna go and we're gonna pray that everything happens okay. And I asked the Afo-Economics team, this is a blessing of having y'all as backup. That if there's any questions that come in and I can't see them, that definitely they'll answer them or make sure that we record them so that I can get back to that. I would really like to just, at some point be able to I will be able to record this because of, Facebook pays off this time because I'm simulcasting into Facebook. So we're talking about the Dow Jones Industrial Average reaching record highs. And do you know what the Dow is? Like I had it all set up. I was going to put up the Dow 30 up behind me. At some point, I'm just going to keep on trying to work with my mouse, and I'm going to keep on, and at some point, maybe it will start working again. So I'm just going to keep on going like that. But until then, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is an index that is very popular, and it only represents actually 30 companies. Believe it or not, we talk about the Dow and people go, oh, the market. They go, oh, the market is up. The market reached record highs. But when I refer to the Dow, I'm actually talking about 30 stocks that are traded on the stock market. So a little bit earlier this morning, I did a discussion briefly about the stock market and how important it is for us to get a better understanding of the stock market as a community. I mean, there's so much research that shows that if we focused actually on participating in the stock market as much as we participate in home ownership, that we actually would have a dramatic amount, a huge difference in the amount of wealth within the Black community. Amazingly so. So I want us to realize that it is my responsibility. It is my responsibility. I'm taking it upon myself with all the technical challenges for me to encourage you to learn more about the stock market that I deal with every day. That's why I brought Afo-Economics to the planet. God used me to bring Afo-Economics to the planet for us to look at all of the different options that we have in wealth development and actually understand that what wealth development really is. That if we really think about, the stock market and the opportunities there, I think that our participation would be much higher for our community. That it's highly unlikely, unfortunately, for a Black person to participate in the stock market, and mostly because they'll say, if I asked you, why don't you have, any stocks in your portfolio? You will say, because of the risk involved, or I don't want to lose any money. But yet at the same time, you'll participate in a conversation with someone about something, let's just say as an example, on cryptocurrency. And you'll talk to them with confidence about cryptocurrency, and they'll tell you how much money can be made in cryptocurrency. But you'll also know that the person that you're talking to in most cases is not licensed in anything dealing with securities. They're not regulated in their discussion with you. And the information that you're looking at has not been reviewed by any regulators. So when we talk about the stock market, we're talking about investing in companies that actually have to prepare their information for the government to review. They have to be audited. Their information has to be checked. Now, we do have stories of people lying and people saying things that aren't true, and it getting past the government. But there are more cases of successful regulation than there are successes of companies not being regulated properly. So the regulation of companies is paying off for you as investors. That's why you know about the things when people do wrong, because the information is released by the regulators who sued them or sent them to jail in many cases now. So when we're talking about investing in stocks, you're investing, and you're talking about the stock market, and you're talking about today, we were discussing the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is made up of 30 stocks. So I want to just talk about some of the names in the 30 stocks that make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And easily, if you're participating in your retirement plan at work, you can have exposure to a lot of companies that are far beyond the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So because that's only 30 in the Dow, where a basic mutual fund or a ETF may have a lot more than 30 companies in that. But the Dow is an index. So when I want to tell my client how a portfolio performs, I'll compare it to an index. In many cases, we'll use, for a stock portfolio, you'll use the S&P 500 because the 500 is a larger mass. It's a better indicator of the market overall when you're talking about U.S. companies. So in the Dow Jones, you have ExxonMobil, General Electric, Home Depot, IBM, Intel. This is as easy as a Google to look at what is the Dow Jones. You've got Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, the McDonald's, Verizon, Visa, Walmart, Walt Disney. Do you shop at any of those places? Do you spend money at any of those places? So that's telling you how these companies that you actually are spending your money at, how they're doing. I mean, because the stock market is doing so well because earnings have been reported, and because of pure speculation, really, because the stock market moves higher based on long-term growth potential of those companies. So you're buying them today at a price, hoping that everything about them will get better over the long term, right? So you're, and I use that in the word term speculation, because when we're talking about investing in stocks, we look at the history, we look at the management, we look at the debt load, we look at your specific investment needs, your risk tolerance, your interests. You know, even there might be certain companies that you don't want to invest in because of what they do and what they practice. So you have to, when you're learning and expanding and exposing yourself to the stock market, you know, I want you to make sure that you realize that if you're buying individual stocks, or if you're buying mutual funds, or if you're buying ETFs, exchange traded funds, those are giving you exposure to the stock market. And let me tell you about some reasons why I feel that we need to participate more fully into the stock market and focus on things that we really do understand, and focus on getting some of that money back that we're spending and benefit from our spending, because we have to buy things. And a key way to benefit from spending is to buy ownership into places where you're spending your money. You know, they keep posting that statistic about money flowing through the Black community, you know, in 6 hours, and that it's gone and it doesn't flow back into the Black community. I feel that that's not fair to us, because we are indeed a minority in this country. We represent a small percentage of this country. So what we can do in order to feel like that we're participating more fully or benefiting from this country that we're building, is to participate in the stock market and start owning and getting ownership into these entities where you're spending your money. I mean, even if it's as simple as that. Well, and then also you might be spending money in some investments that just are not good companies. So you might want to, you know, also get a financial advisor, hopefully me, join Afo-Economics. And as you're looking at your financial goals, we pick investments that are appropriate for your risk tolerance. And that might be something that is an alternative investment, which we would call like your Bitcoins and things like that. Those are alternative investments because they're illiquid in their liquidity, and they're not regulated. There's a lot more risk involved. So, you know, when I want us to get a good understanding of that second principle of Afo-Economics, that yes, it is important to be self-reliant, principle number 2, but it's also important, principle number 3, to increase our knowledge in all of the options that are out there and take advantage of opportunities to grow. So Mr. Harris says, I have a retirement plan at work tied into the stock market, but don't have a clue how to work it. I only watch its gains or drops. And that's what we do. And I appreciate you as a member of Afo-Economics, and you just joined, and I really appreciate it, Mr. Harris. And we are going to do just that. That is my first order of business for members of Afo-Economics, is to teach them to maximize what they're already doing. It's not about, you know, just destroying and changing and, you know, no, a lot of what you already have. If we take full benefit of what we already have, our lifestyle, our legacy can change immediately. So 6 great reasons you should be investing in stock is a headline that I saw from Bankrate. And then I saw the must do money moves that you can't afford to put off any longer, and reasons to invest by Fidelity, reasons to invest in stocks, and well, let me tell you, Afo-Economics, some reasons why I think you should be. And make sure you check out my podcast. I have them up on the website, and then you can click to the podcast, and actually right on the page, the Black Wall Street, I have why we should be investing in stock. That podcast is right there. You don't even have to go to the podcast site. So let's look at, I feel that we need to realize that the reason that we invest and don't just save all of our money is because we're trying to increase or at least maintain our style of living. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that we're putting our money into things that can outpace the cost of living. That we have to have things that have where if it's going to cost you more to live, like right now it might cost you $2,000 a month to live.